How would you describe what healing is, and what are some of the obstacles to healing?
That's great. So my son, when he was in high school, he broke his leg. He was out goofing off with his buddies and broke his leg and had to have a full leg cast on it. He had to have surgery and had to have pins put in it. Now, his leg healed. Now, the doctors did not heal the leg. He did not heal the leg. In fact, the healing started as soon as the injury happened. The healing had started. The cast just protected it so that the healing could take place. I see healing as something that is a natural, God-given process that kicks in when we get out of the way. There's a flow of healing that occurs. And when I say get in the way, it could be something physical like picking at a sore, or it could be something mental like ruminating and dwelling on a past trauma. Healing is trying to take place in the same way that a beach ball held underwater is trying to come to the surface. I see healing as this life is naturally moving in the direction of healing. And the question is not what are we doing to heal, but what can we stop doing to prevent healing? To use the example of the broken leg, there was a period of time when it didn't need to be messed with at all. It needed to just, after the surgery, it was a matter of just rest and not having any stress to it. And then it got to where there was a time when he was ready to start rehabbing it. And so in my practice, there are some people who are not ready to get out of the way of it. And that's part of what I see my role as a helper is to be able to pay attention to their readiness, to be open to it when they are ready, and then guide them in that process, especially with children who I've worked with who've experienced severe trauma, sexual abuse, and that sort of thing. I think that the world gets impatient and therapists want to induce the healing, but they have to be ready. The world as a whole has a misunderstanding about what they think their feelings are telling them. I often will tell people when I'm speaking to groups, people with addictions, that if the only thing they realized was that it's okay to feel bad, that would do wonders. Because the reason they ended up in this situation is because they were trying to avoid feeling bad, or they were trying to make themselves feel good. Now, there's a reason we don't have therapy for 2 and 3-year-olds, because they don't care. They don't care about feeling bad. They experience the full range of human emotion, and they get over it really quickly. Well, that's why children are so natural. They flow through life so naturally. And then we start to get away from that as we get older. We start getting attached to certain feelings and avoiding certain, other feelings. It's really about becoming more like a child and being okay with having bad feelings, knowing that they will pass. Part of that healing process is allowing some pain to come and go.
Yeah, 1 billion times to that. What a beautiful message. Thank you for saying that, Jamie. There's a term you use, default nature. How would you define this term?
Yeah. A computer has a default setting. You can reset the computer or your phone to factory settings. And I see a default as just sort of, it's that basic fundamental state. And so when their thinking quiets down, when their mind, there's some space, really it's like falling into a state of meditation. Their head is clear. Mental health automatically comes out as a default setting. It's like the sun behind the clouds. So the clouds cover the sun, and we'll say, well, I wish the sun would come out. Well, the sun is already out. The clouds are obscuring it. And we don't have to get up there and wave the clouds away. We understand that when the clouds pass, the sun will peek through automatically. That is in my mind, the default nature of our mental health. We're all connected to this wisdom and this common sense, as you mentioned earlier, when we quiet down enough to listen to it.
Being in the moment, this is something that we hear a lot, being here now. Is that something that has to do with focus and concentration?
being in the moment, being present, your mind is free. There's not a contamination of the future or the past. It's that space that we fall into when our mind gets really quiet. It's the root of enjoyment, contentment, peace, joy, all of those things that we're looking for. They happen when we're in the moment. Over the past several years, mindfulness has become popular. I don't necessarily talk about it in that way. In my mind, I found that when you see that this moment is all there is, you don't need mindfulness to escape some scary future or some, bad past. Realizing this moment is all there is, it just doesn't make as much sense to leave it.
Right. So true. Yeah, it really doesn't make sense. I love the way you write. I love the way you speak too, and the way you express this beautiful healing wisdom that you got to experience and know. There's a passage, the one about the unknown. It's titled Faith in the Unknown. When struggling with life, a big step is to learn how to be comfortable with the unknown. So my question is, how does the unknown relate to having faith?
Yeah, I had realized that looking back on my life that times in my life when I really experienced a lot of joy and contentment and excitement, and there were times when I didn't know what was going to happen, whether it was a vacation to a place I'd never been, when I had my first child, getting a new job. There was just this being in this, I guess you could say we're always in the unknown, but there are times in our life when it's more on our mind. And so I have since discovered that people, what stresses them is not the unknown, it's the idea that they need to know or to figure it out. It's trying to figure out the unknown.